Hello and welcome to my very first long video. 93% of you said you wanted this, and honestly, I wasn't expecting that big of response. But when you asked, I had to deliver. So here we are trying something special today. Yesterday, India had celebrated Ganpati Visarjan. For those who don't know, it's the final day of Ganesh Chaturthi when we bid farewell to Lord Ganesha with procession, music, and a lot of emotion. Here's a quick glimpse of how the final look turned out, festive and grand. When the outfit was done, people were actually gathered around my outfit and the reaction was so heartwarming. It felt like everybody was celebrating it together inside the game. And here's something you need to know. This was built entirely without VIP item. So alright, let's get into it and see how it was built. So the first challenge was obviously, how do I make the elephant trunk when the game doesn't have one? I ended up using the switch hat and adjusting it. The way it curves downward actually gives the perfect illusion of a trunk. I had to play around with angles for a while, tilt it, rotate it, and to make sure it didn't look just like a hat sitting awkwardly. This step alone took me some trial and error, but when it finally looked right, I knew the foundation of Ganesha's face was ready and I adjusted the color finally. Next was his clothing. Ganesha is always shown in a dhoti, but the game doesn't give you that directly. So I used this jeans and toggled the texture to bright yellow silk. Suddenly it looked so traditional. For the upper garment, I layered this piece of clothing from the cultural update, and I wanted the crown to be the highlight. It had to be grand. It represents his divine presence. So I went all out, stacking pieces and making it shine. This part instantly made him feel so royal. I added more jewelries to it. Now next, to add more texture to the dhoti, I added more fabric layers. A small detail, but it really changed the silhouette. Now I had to give him a weapon. So this was the closest to a divine weapon that we have in the game. So I thought it fits beautifully. Next, I didn't stop here. I layered extra garments, adjusted some texture, and played with the flow. I wanted it to look festive, something you could imagine during a Ganesh Chaturthi procession. Each adjustment brought more richness to the outfit. Next were his eyes. I wanted him to feel kind, calm, but also powerful. I scrolled through so many options until I found that one that felt like Ganesha, gentle and wise. Next was his iconic ears. I used these two hats and angled them perfectly to make it look like his ears. Next, to add his tusks, I added this earring, and once I adjusted it, it was a small detail, but once you notice it, you cannot unsee it, and it added so much to the whole garment. Next, for his tilak, I added this forehead piece and adjusted it to make it look more regal and more spiritual. It gave the overall spiritual aura. Now, next what I did was my favorite hack, that I used this sleeping mask to adorn his trunk, and it made such a big difference. Yes, I used an eye mask. I positioned it so it looked like jewelry adorning the trunk. It took a lot of adjustments. I was rotating and resizing and making sure it didn't look off. But the end result gave such a festive, jewel-like effect. Honestly, this step made me smile because it felt so inventive. A trunk from just a shape into something so much more divine. And obviously everybody in the game was already around me and they were praising me and they were dropping so many nice messages, but I was so focused on putting it in the correct position that I was so concentrated that I couldn't read them all. But finally I had to give that halo. In Indian art, you will often see gods with this glowing aura behind their head. So the closest I found was this Mexican hat, which I turned into red and placed it behind his head. This was the finishing touch, and that made the whole design feel so much holy and powerful. And here he is walking the runway, our Lord Ganesha in Dress to Impress. It was made with no VIP items, and the side view of it was so perfect. I cannot put it If you're still watching, comment what did you like most in the whole video, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. This was just the start. I have more outfits to build. So comment down below and tell me more. How did you like this outfit?